Gonna start the recording. Looks like we got a good 20 plus here, and so we'll get started. Um, is everyone able to see my screen just with this visual
Yeah, I can see it.
so far? Okay, great.
Yeah.
All right, well, welcome everyone. Thanks for joining. I was saying this a few minutes ago, but this was uh, I don't know, a little bit of a test on a theory um, that even last minute, you know, if you want to call it like pop-up workshops can be successful. Um, I was hoping that just because it's kind of hard for me to schedule out into the future really easily. Um, so yeah, thank you for signing up and attending. So what we're going to be looking at is how do we build custom uh, either Viz extensions or dashboard extensions within Tableau using Claude. And so Claude will be my like my go-to code AI code tool, and but this could be done with with any of the other models that you are familiar with, or if you use Cursor, or or even just going back and forth with ChatGPT style. This would be possible. So, like, what I want to also convey is that um, the the barriers to building these things, like these custom solutions in Tableau or outside of Tableau, are the barriers are minimal now with how well the coding tools have gotten, like how well they perform and how accurate and the quality that they can uh, give you. So just keep that in mind as you're either building Tableau or other Viz, or have an idea on something you want to build with that would require code to remember that that's becoming more and more possible for more people. So the let me see. I want to let me get my screen right here. Okay. Um, so let's just talk first about what is a Viz extension? Like, how does it work? Um, so we'll go from like beginner, if you've never tried to build an extension or seen one behind the scenes, then this will cover all of that range of experience. So this is just a little graphic on like how a a Viz extension works. So basically, overall, a Viz extension. So this is like a custom Viz within Tableau. I'm gonna show there are two. Let me get the right window here. So there are two different types of extensions. One is a Viz extension that's more recent, and that's um, where you're building like a custom chart, like the radial or the Sankey, um, and Tristan, at La Data Viz is like the champion of these. So I don't know if I have one built. Yeah. So like this radial bar chart is a custom Viz extension. There's another extension type that so this extension, Viz extension, lands on a sheet, a worksheet within your workbook. You access it through the marks card as like a mark type. So um, once you go through this menu, then you choose the file, and I'll go through what the files are next. The other type lands on a dashboard, and this is the original, as far as I know, the original extension type, where you drop it on a dashboard and choose your T-Rex file. So we'll go through what those do now. But we're going to be focusing on building like viz extensions today. The other dashboard extension they're amazing as well. Like I've built some solutions that can read and look through a dashboard, like call out any errors, or even walk through different hierarchies within like a calculated field, kind of step through the parents and the dependents of a calculated field and see all the calculations. That can all be built within a dashboard extension. So they're extremely useful as well. So what Tableau needs to run an extension, let me grab this hierarchy here.
طبعا التشكيل بعد بنتين أخيش إن شاء الله.
Okay, so this radial that we're going to look at. So when you're selecting a file from Tableau, it's going to look at the T-Rex file. It's referred to as the manifest. It can be named anything. So let's look at what is in a manifest. Now we're going to see a lot of other things. So the components of a manifest, like it's kind of I would call it like the bridge between your web-based elements. So like your HTML and your JavaScript. It's the bridge between Tableau and your HTML, your web-based code. And so within the manifest, it tells Tableau where to go to look for the web elements, the code. And it also has other information like the organization. You can put your email in there, and that's what shows up within when you drop let me see if it's on here. That's not. So when a user, like if you're publishing these or sharing these, when an extension is added, never seen it. Haven't seen this hang like that before. Let me try to get a new sheet. When a new extension is added like this, so I'll just add this one, you get the pop-up. So the information within that that manifest file shows up here. So like owner, URL to the owner's like organization or the developer's organization, things like that. So that is all in here. And so what Tableau is going to do is the other part of this is that you need to have that file hosted, meaning that it needs to be running on a server. It can be as simple. So today we're just going to be working from localhost. And if you're running Python, you can spin up a local HTML server very simply, and we'll go through that. But if you publish this on cloud or server, then you'll have to have the HTML components of the extension running on a public server, a place that's accessible from cloud or server. And that can be as simple as a like what I'm where I'll share some of these files from is just a GitHub pages page, and it has these HTML files are there. And so it can be as simple as a GitHub pages link that would be added here. It can be, well, even simpler would be just like an S3 bucket that's public. You can just drop your HTML, JavaScript, CSS files directly into an S3 bucket and reference the HTML file here. So it doesn't have to be anything extravagant to serve or host the files that you need for the extension. It just needs to be publicly available. Like those files need to be open to access from just a public web. So that's how, like, if you publish this workbook, that's how server or cloud will look for and be able to grab these files once we're off of local development. So let's look at, we're gonna kind of, like, I have a bunch of examples, and I kind of want to build some or all of those from scratch. So you can kind of see my workflow. So when I'm kind of coding with AI, there are different methods, and I'm more in the camp of kind of like iterating fast and testing and then tweaking. I don't generally spend a lot of time on plans, but if you're more in the plan, like you like to see things laid out, then I would start with a plan mode on your Claude instance or session, and you can go through a plan and explain. Like what's also great is Claude, you don't have to explain any of this that I've gone through. Like it knows if you just say you want to build a Tableau extension, then it will take off on it. And I think I'll show that. Also, like how few instructions you have to give it to get something going. So let's jump into the Claude side. I'm going to see. Oh, first I'll share this repo. So I wanted to just go through this process for you to pull down like a template to start with. I'll delete this, but if you just go to your let me pull up the other page here real quick again. So if you create a new directory locally, and open up your command line within that directory, I've got a link here. So this is already on the GitHub. So I just put in the chat the command to pull this repo down. So if you open up your command line within the directory, I'll show that also just for ease of review. So you can right click if you're on Windows and open in terminal. Then you get the terminal, and I've copied that here. And so I'll right click and that whole command will just show up in my terminal. I'm already, I don't think it would require a login just because this repo is public, but I'm already logged into GitHub. And so once I run that command, it's just going to pull down all of the files that I've put into that starter. That even includes some information for Claude, and you might decide you don't want this to be the starter for Claude, but like I was saying, Claude understands what the extension, a Tableau extension is. That MD file just gives Claude a little more information to get started with. So that is in the repo as well. We can see in the repo, it's got just a base index.html, and that's what the manifest will reference. I mentioned the having to have a hosted version of it. So this manifest.hosted is it's a template so that when you do have your files pushed back to GitHub, then it's already got the URL here that you can update with the location of your index file, and then pull this TRX into Tableau. So yeah, so that's what's available on GitHub now. And I'm just going to start a new folder and probably a whole new VS Code is where I do all my Claude from. So I'll open up a new VS Code instance. And there are kind of three that I've played around with really very recently. I'll show those three from, we're gonna just use the Superstore data. So we're not so we can just focus on the building the extensions and not worrying about like what the data is or anything like that. So I figured Superstore would be the most well-known. So here's one, I already have the heat
אתה
map.
יכול לקרוא ספר.
Is there a question?
מה? הבאנו גם 3 ו-4, לא?
All right, so heat map. I've got a heat map here that I think, a lot of times we build the one where we've got the weekdays and the hours, and then sometimes we add the bars on the top and bottom. So this one with, a lot fewer inputs can do that. So when you're building the extensions, you'll get the cards to kind of display what needs to be dropped there. And this is all built in. It's not automatic. It's just, it can be coded into the process where it gives you a little bit of direction on what this extension is looking for. But you also have the like the marks area that show like drop the date here and the value. So this is a heat map. So I'm going to just look at like order count here in the value. I mostly use just the latest Opus. I played around with Fable until it was revoked last week. For Fable, I didn't see a ton of like increase in quality or ability necessarily, but everything that it did ran twice as fast, basically. Of the things I was trying to do, everything just was sped up. So like the outputs were a lot faster with the Fable. But I didn't see, if I were to run the same or ask for the same solution within the Opus 4.8 and Fable. I didn't see a big quality difference. Not sure. We can watch the token, Vishal, on like the token usage as we put in some of the prompts. We'll get like the token usage as it's building. For a while, I got away with the $20 a month Claude subscription. Now I'm on the next one up, whatever it is, that is like 5 times um, 5 times the usage. So that's what I'm on right now, but I don't usually hit the limit on that one. And yeah, not on the free. I don't know how many. I don't know if you'd be able to build a single like viz extension within any of the free tier allotment through Claude. Possibly, I haven't actually tried like some of the more affordable models to see what they can output, but that'd actually be a good experiment to see what Haiku might be able to produce. But anyway, so I just want to show kind of the end product that we're gonna try to get to. So this heat map. This changed. So let me see if I get this to hourly. Something's not looking right. I think I have a version of this elsewhere. So yeah, show this version. So here's the heat map that we want to build. So it's got a config window where we can change the coloring, I like change the size, the canvas that this is gonna take up. Turning on and off values. Here's the piece that we try to do sometimes with 3 different charts, sometimes in Tableau, where we get the total column and row bars. You can change with this, you can change where that lands. So that's one. Another one, we got the radial bar, we already kind of saw a little preview of that one. And then I want to do a clean table. Viz extension. I know that, so what's actually nice about doing a custom table is that it will load, since it's loading from the web, everything's rendering, it doesn't have to render like a table would in Tableau, where it's drawing every one of the marks or every one of the numbers and text as trying to draw that as lines or as a drawn visual. So you can get a lot of performance out of using a table extension rather than the native. But like with this, if I just drop a bunch of fields, and then we'll go back and customize this when we build it, but you can kind of see this is customizable. So like that one, you can change the field types, but you can see you can pull in, easily have it, put the bars within the table, add all the fields that you want. It's got sorting and searching. So if we did home, then we get all the home office. I don't think I have a subcategory. We got chairs. So just really quick, once you have this as like a web-based table, you can do a lot more customization and a lot easier and quicker to work with. So we'll jump to, I actually don't know which one is best, but we'll do the radial. We'll start with the radial bar chart, unless someone puts in the comments that they want to see a different one first. I'm open to doing whatever the audience prefers, but I'm just going to start with completely blank. Thank you. We'll do radial. Just a completely blank. I don't have anything in my folder. I've got a new, just a new Claude window. And I have, let me see. I have some pre-built prompts, but I'm just gonna go completely without that. So we're gonna go custom here. So I'll just say that I want to build a new Tableau Viz extension. That is a radial bar chart. Should be fully customizable from a config menu. I'll say modal. Modal is just the window that would pop up on top of your Viz area. Sometimes if you don't, well, like if I don't define this, then it's going to create a slide out and do other things. So I'll be specific on how I want the config to work. Just because I've seen like performance issues with the slide outs. Yeah, thanks. That one of the options when you're building these is that the extension has access in some cases for some types, it needs access to like the detail level data depending on what you're building and also depending on like which fields you're pulling in or what you're trying to do once the extension is in your workbook. That's a like if you have your workbook hosted on cloud, that's a feature or a setting that the admin can restrict. So once you're on cloud, all extensions have to be whitelisted and approved, and there are different levels that that extension might have access to. So like that brings up a great point, is that you want to be careful with any extension that you're using from outside of your organization. Fortunately, Tableau has preferred, within the exchange, the Viz exchange or extension exchange, they have preferred partners, and they also have their own hosted extensions. So let me show that too, because that's important. If I add extension, I've shown you so far, I'm selecting like access a local, but these are all within Tableau's Viz exchange. So you can see there are extensions that are built by Tableau directly. Then you've got Tristan's La Data Viz, and his company is like a preferred, they're I would say approved by Tableau to be safe. Like they go through that process. And yeah, so I don't, and that's another like huge reason why this is important, because like for myself, it I work for a company where we have PHI, and I would never use even a, well, I would use a Tableau one, but I wouldn't rely on any others if I'm going to check that box that says it has access to the data. For that very reason, is like security and like data sharing PHI risk. So that's another reason like that this is so important, and to be able to do is so that you can build something that you don't, you wouldn't be able to even get through the exchange because of privacy or security risks. So this you can build yourself. You can give it all the data access that it needs, host it internally. That's how we do it. So I can build these. I've got an internal web app that I've published these on. To Vishal's question, there's a lengthy process to get into the Tableau Exchange to be able to publish here. They have a sandbox version, and that one's like less rigorous. But if you just search for the Exchange Tableau Viz extension Exchange, then you can. Yes, thank you, Diego. And I say rigorous because I'm in that process myself, and it's, I don't know. I probably haven't like talked to the right people, but I'm like working on that myself, and I'm at the like Salesforce partner process or level of the process, and trying to get past that. So thanks for that, Diego, detail. Okay, so back to Claude, and I'm in VS Code. So I want to see a new viz extensions, radial bar chart should have be fully customizable from a config modal. And let's just go with that and see what we get while that's running. I'll show, actually we'll put it on fast mode, and hopefully it won't take too long. But I guess we'll see real time like how fast it is. Okay. Diego and Zaid, what about just if you're on an air gapped, is just hosting it on so I guess this would be, I don't know if it's recommended, but before, I had a web app that was public and accessible. You could host your files. Like if you're on server, you could host your files on that same server. So it can run, and correct me if I'm wrong now, Diego, but it can run localhost on your Tableau server machine and then be accessible from Tableau server. And, since it's all within that same machine environment, that you wouldn't be going outside of the machine itself if you were able to do it that way.
Yeah, but you can use your own certificate mask with a DNS or something like that, a local DNS, the certificate, so you can use HTTPS.
Okay, thanks. So I'm hoping to, maybe I'll like kick off another one just so that these are running together and we're not waiting around. I'm just going to take the same prompt, or maybe I'll take a prompt that I had pre-built and we'll see. So this one is for the heat map. It says viz-extension marginal sum bars encodings date and value. Lay the dates out as a grid, color each cell by the measure that's selected, draw the sum bars along the top and side, redraw on summary data change. So that's the other thing, is that this is like, if you've ever worked with embedded, these elements interact with the other elements on your dashboard. So you can use what I would call like a lot of the embedded functionality or methods, where you still have within these viz extensions, you still have the ability to click, and that can run actions. You can have other actions where you click another chart and it filters the viz extension, so it interacts perfectly with all of the other elements within your dashboard. So you don't lose like the interactivity that you get just in a standard viz type. I'll run this heat map. So what it's doing is, so it's even gone out, and this is the library for extensions that Tableau maintains. So like the JavaScript code that's required to be able to run. So like the viz extension that we build calls out to this library for a lot of the functions and commands. And it's started building, it's got the T-Rex. We can see the manifest file here. It's built out. It's going to be looking at localhost 8765. So we'll run that as a localhost server. And then we're getting the index HTML file, which will contain the what this extension will look like and function. And then it's got a JS file that it's running. So JS provides like a lot of the just the interaction, like the interactivity that you can get. HTML is just the visual, and CSS would be style of the UI. So I'm going to run that localhost. It's 8765, and to do that, once you have, you'll want to install Python, but it's just a simple Python command. It's HTTP, so python-m HTTP .server, and then I'll give it the port, and that's the 8765 that the manifest is going to be looking at. So once I run that, and I've got it in new folder, then I can go to a new browser and hit localhost 87, and you need a colon in between there, 8765. I might have something else running on here. We'll see. Yeah, I do. So change this. And I've got something running there. Shouldn't run out of ports that I could use. Just trying to find a. So I'll change the manifest to look at the 1111, which is just the port that I found is free. After I save that, I'll have to stop the server that I had running and restart it and give it the 1111. Now, when I go back to the browser at 1111, This, I can check it here. What happens though is that this is obviously the library is specific to Tableau. It's looking to be run within a Tableau window. So this error message was built by Claude. Just it will tell you that this needs to run within Tableau. But this at least shows, like I'll check this sometimes first. I can see that the manifest is working. It's my local host server is running, and then I can go to the workbook I'm going to be looking at. So start a set of new, just start new here. So, all right. So now I should, well, actually, let's look at what, if this is at a stopping point. So yeah, it's, so it's at a stopping point. It's completed what I've asked for as it understands, as Claude understands it. So it's a good point that we can look and see what the progress looks like. So I'm going to access the local again, and this was in it added a new folder. And so since I'm building the heat map here as well, it's got that, but it looks like it's going to reference everything from the library folder. So I'll select the radial bar chart, and it's normal, like you're going to see some errors. It's really easy. You copy the error and let Claude know. Usually within the next iteration, it's going to be running. The heat map might be getting close to stopping point here, actually. It is, okay, yeah, heat map is ready as well for the first test. So we'll go to, I keep the wrong one. So we'll just close this and I'll start. So I'll do this one as radial, and I'll start a new tab, heat map, and I'll hit add extension. It's going to reference the last location that you selected a T-Rex from. So in this case, it's already going to be in the same directory. Looks like probably the same error. It was missing one of the XML elements, but I'll copy that again. And that would be a good thing to go back to the MD file and update, that this is a common thing that might be missed. But, as you saw, we started with pretty basic instructions. So when you do this with the template or the repo, you'll have that MD file in there. So that MD file was built after I iterated through a lot of these, and so anything that I had, any back and forth that we had to do should be kind of built into that MD file instruction, the claude.md. All right, so now we've got the radial, might be ready to view, at least give another attempt. And another error. So this one, we'll see. So I don't know how much or how often any of you code with Claude, but that's like, it's common. You hit errors and then pass those to Claude, and then like I was saying from the beginning, more iterating and testing, like quick cycles. So we'll reload the heat map. You can see, I'll show you. You can see in here I have other ones. They won't show up here until they load successfully the first time. So these are just from previous sessions. Then again, go into local, heat map. Hopefully we get to a point where we can get to customizing. And I wouldn't, I wouldn't suggest trying to do multiple sessions at once if you're just starting this process. Focus on one and then get to a point where it's loading. So this is a good sign. And like I was saying before, within the manifest, it says it's created by viz your data, and it tells you the extension URL. When you're on cloud or you're hosting this publicly, then this will need to be the like that public URL that you can hit. So I'm going to allow that extension and still getting an error. But so what generally would be showing here would be the kind of that instruction to drop things. I'm going to actually see if it still loads. Like it's possibly that it's just the instruction that's not working, but it does look like there's more of an error. There is a feature, I don't have it loaded up already, but there's a way to better debug these within you have to run Tableau Desktop a little bit differently with debug mode, and then you can kind of see the errors or more about the errors that are happening, but I haven't needed to do that really if when I have kind of this much. Claude has done okay with the amount of error message that's surfaced. So I wonder if so yeah, it's saying it doesn't have any rows, but it's obvious because I didn't have any mark on that or any field on the cards. But we'll try the heat map again. So this is a part that can get tedious and maybe maybe a hurdle people don't want to go over, but I'll actually update the MD file so that hopefully you get like a one-shot, viz extension loading, and I'll also play around with that. I'll get the MD files so that so you do have that that experience where you're not going back and forth with a ton of errors like this. But I guess this is kind of showing what a lot of the process includes when you're starting something new. So I said heat map, yep. Oh yeah, so we're gonna get, sorry, this is the boring part. But at least we got this one we can check out again. I might switch over to one I already had done and we'll kind of go through making enhancements to it. I'm just gonna reload the radial extension. One thing to note is if you change anything in the manifest file, you have to, even if you've already preloaded it, generally if you change something in the HTML, you can just click that I'll show you. You can click that extension button that's already in the dropdown. But if you change anything in the manifest, then it requires a full reload. Okay, now we're getting the instruction. It says drop a dimension on category and a measure on value. And then we have a format extension already built. So we'll see what happens if I do category and order date. Wait, this is value. Sorry. So let's do sales. We got sum of sales. Not quite what I'm looking for. But let's see if we change it to subcategory fit. Oh, okay. So built different style than I was expecting. Someone tell me, like, is that considered a radial bar chart as well? I don't know. Another trick, I guess, is to, let me see what I have here. Easy trick is say, okay, I want this. Take a screenshot, go back to it and say, I'd like this style. Hit the screenshot and it's going to go to work. The heat map side is still working, but let me show you. I didn't get too much into the table, so maybe I'll share some of that while this is rebuilding. Thank you, Cooley. Thanks for joining. Have a great day. All right, so this is the table that I built previously. So the server might not be running actually. Looked like the heat map is ready for another. Thanks, Carlos. Thanks, Ed. I'm free. I'll stick around and keep iterating on this, and then that will go into the recording. If you need a drop, then that's great. Appreciate everybody jumping in to watch. And like I said, I'll update kind of the instructions for Claude to be a little tighter and allow you to iterate quicker and get to like a solution a little bit faster than we saw here. But I'll probably drop in the three, more of the finalized three. Thanks, Diego. More of the finalized three chart type. So the radial, heat map, and the table. I'll probably add that to just the public repository so you can pull that down and play around with it. Since we didn't get to see too much of that finalized, let's see how this rolls. Well, seems like the server isn't running, but let me check that again. Yeah. So I guess I'll go into the format and see. So like without even prompting for customization, Claude has included this, so I can put in a title. Let's just see what the title gives us. Oh, so it's updating from some of the code from my last prompt. So now I've got the title, some of the other things in the config are just the spacing, radius, bar, put some rounded ends on it. You can do some color customization. So that's what sometimes I love about Claude and some of the others is that it's thinking past. Thanks, Anuba. Thanks, Daniel. It's thinking past like your exact prompt into what else might be useful, rather than just giving you exactly what you ask for. And sometimes you want exactly what you ask for, but in a lot of cases, it's extending the functionality without you maybe even have thinking of that. So those are some of the things that put in just automatically. Let's see if there's a label. Yep, there's a label. So I'm going to do category and value, font size, reference rings, data, sort bars. We can go value high to low, save that, and we get it back to that version of it. If we change the mark here to average, then that's going to update here as well. Thanks. Okay, so let's see. Looks like there's an update on both right now. The server I'd been running needed to be more of a global to catch both of the projects, but I hadn't set it up that way. So that was the error we're getting on the heat map. Let me hit this refresh. Now we get the different style. So what actually would be more useful would be to there's no radial type. So I'm just going to ask it for a toggle for the user. Thanks, Harshit, for joining. As soon as the recording processes, I'll get that out. I'll probably stay on and just go through some of iterating through ideas like this and get the waiting for Claude portions sped up. But we're gonna have likely a different set of config that Claude's included in this, and now it's already added the toggle. So I can say this is average sales, Superstore sales. You can make this so that the canvas updates as you slide. Currently, it looks like it requires the save, but it's possible to have it so you can watch it live and see where you might want to put that. I'll prompt that next. I'll prompt for like some color choices to be easier. Turn on the labels again. Oh, that's probably messed with these a little too much. So let me get the live. Okay. I'm just going to say include visual color options and have a default, like a reset. Reset to default button. And I'll see if, I think I might need to run this server on its own, but not sure what's, there might be something running at that port. Port. I'm just going to use a different port here, so I'd need to go to the manifest. So this is getting messier than I would like, just because it's mixed to the two projects or the two viz extensions. So definitely would have it build out hierarchy, but that's just, you know, one of the risks with running multiple Claude command windows at the same time, or prompt windows. So I need the heat map. 3999, that's what I'll run it at, and then save that file. Send it over here. So then back to the heat map, check the latest, and it's not. I need to, that's what I was saying, like I changed the manifest file for that new port, so I'll have to reload from, or select the T-Rex file again. All right, so we'll grab the local heat map. See, we can check just the URL has been updated correctly. And still nothing, but let me see. Give it the dates. It's kind of, this error's causing the rest to not work, so throw this back in. And this is just some of the process you end up going through. If you, you know, I mentioned planning style or iterating style, like you'll avoid a lot of this. I think if you plan more extensively, if we do the plan mode, plan modes in here, then I wouldn't say that you're going to avoid all of it, but you might avoid some of the back and forth with a more formalized plan, starting with a formalized plan here. Maybe I messed up the. No, run import 2999. I'll see. Okay, the radial, back to the radial. We just asked for some new config items on the radial. So I just need to click that extension again. So now we'll be able to see, hopefully we'll get, yeah, so we'll get live updates now to the format. So it doesn't take the save and back and forth. Then let's see, make sure we're still running. So you can go thicker. Now it's got, like I asked for a preview on the colors. Oh, we got background. And opacity we can play around with. They've got gradient also, if we want to throw in a gradient. So gradient start and end. Blue and orange is good. Then there should be, might not be in here yet, but if not, oh, here. We want to sort high to low. Then we got the copiers that are basically going all the way around. We do put this back to sum. And then I was going to do the value, but it's gonna probably get too cluttered here. And we can maybe filter some off. Just do top 10 by sum of sales, or maybe top 8. Get that updated. Still a little work, obviously, I do on labeling, formatting, and then see if we get our heat map going. Okay, says we should be good. So we're going to put it back on the 8765, which is already using somewhere else, but let me see. I think it's just getting mixed up within the what's running on the server. So I'm gonna select it again. I don't think it's gonna work, but try it while I'm here. So this is looking at. Nope. Sarab, so setting up VS Code, I don't do anything specific. So Claude within VS Code is just a what do they call those? Like a plugin. And so if you go to Anthropic, you can download the plugin directly from Anthropic, and it will install it and set it up within VS Code directly. And that's what will give you this button. The first time you use it, it will prompt you to log in. But I haven't done anything extra for running Claude within my VS Code. What you sometimes will want to do, just make sure you open that session within the directory you want to work in. If you don't do that, then you just need to like give Claude the path that you do want to use. But generally, or like almost 100% of the time, I do and would recommend having a window. Like you can see I have too many, but having a VS Code instance for a directory and then working directly out of that for that session. The yeah. Let me stop my session here. Okay. So like I think this is just a server running issue. So it was trying to go back to the 8765, but I have a different project running there. So now it looks like manifest is pointing correctly. And it's in the new, it's running from the new folder. Oh, I don't want this. I don't think. So 2999 is going to be the server. So let's see if we can get this to reload. Or I haven't found an easy or good way to, so every time I load this and it's a different version, then you get those kind of stacking up in the list. And I'll have to find out like how to drop those off, but they don't drop off. Or there's not like an option to right click and drop them that I've seen. But it might be like if I close this desktop session, then it would drop. But yeah, so I'm still getting this error. Right. Right click, paste. No. You have to copy with right click when you're in Tableau. Then you get it. Yeah. So this is the boring part, and I'll get the video fast forwarded through all of this to land on the interesting parts. But yeah, a lot of it can be hitting errors and updating the prompt. I honestly didn't have, I ran all of this from scratch this morning and didn't have so many issues, but I think I should have had like a more built out prompt just from the very start, and then probably would have prevented some of the common errors. Sometimes this is a good one thing I like to do is what I'll just say like what other features.
I think the main point you got it across like spectacularly, like how to set up for creating extension. It's something that I've never thought about.
Yeah, I think it's I don't know if it's just that like people know it involves code and so they haven't looked at it, or it's just or just haven't explored it at all. So hopefully this gives
Yeah, that's amazing. That's amazing. Like the setup and how you can host it locally and everything. it was something like not in my control at all, like before this workshop.
Yeah, and if there are plenty of other ways, like I've settled on Claude because I was before I started using Claude, I was using 3 or 4 others. So being able to do everything that I had been doing previously with just the one subscription has been awesome. But I'm probably spending less than I used to even. But yeah, even if you go with, and I don't know all of the models or the providers, but this could be done through just a copy and paste back and forth. Claude is obviously built into VS Code, but you could easily do this through one of the chat LLMs, just going back and forth, even on a free model. So
yeah, I use Claude. We were before Opus like 4.8. But with the Opus like from 4.6 or something, and I did like a web app where you upload the workbook and it shows you all the calculation lineage on calculation layers, where how the like fields are used across the entire workbook, like in calculations, in what sheet, in what dashboard, does some optimization recommendation for the like unused fields or formulas and stuff like that. And it's like you said, and it's something that I said myself also, like so many barriers were removed with with LLMs. It's crazy. Like creativity is the bottleneck, I think, and and some understanding of what the code actually should do. Like you don't need to be a software engineer, but you need to know a bit about it, and that bit helps a lot when trying to build.
Yeah, definitely, like having experience around code, maybe not like you're saying being a software developer engineer, but kind of knowing how the things interact and common issues that you might run into helps a lot. But it's also like the what's nice in some of these instances too is to go back and like, I could prompt Claude right now and say, how do I avoid kind of like the hangups that we hit next time we do this, and get the understanding or learning about how to prompt better, how to set up better, and all the
for sure
things that you can do to make it easier.
Yeah, you can even save them as kind of rules for you and the Claude to follow, like for future attempts and like in a project or something.
So go ahead.
Go ahead, please.
Oh, I was just going to say, I asked for some recommendations and I just selected all of them. Obviously, the one big one was just like getting these projects separate, which I should have done from the start, didn't do. And then it's recommended some tool tips, some like what would be interaction. When I drop this, I'll drop it on a dashboard so we can see the elements working together. And then, so that's what
like
this
even this, like what you just prompted, where you said the analytics and it shows something about scale and the rest. Sometimes you mentioned earlier that Claude like sometimes will add some features, like you said, in the customization window, but if you prompt it like specifically for like in this case, and the analytical features like the axis scale and the domain control and so on, if you prompt it before, then it will have it it in the memory of the like chat or project, and it will take from there. So instead of like guessing before, if you ask a specific question, like to narrow down or to focus on a certain area, it works a lot better, I think.
Mhm. Yeah, you definitely, like I started with completely blank was something I would avoid in a live in a live session next time, but I think I also wanted to convey like how like even if I keep this running and it takes even 2 hours, like that's I would say pretty amazing if you know I get these three to a feature, a pretty rich feature
Yeah.
state in 2 hours. Like it's incredible what you can do,
Yeah, it's
how fast
really
you can do
incredible.
things. So
Yeah, if you think like back to 4 years ago, this will take like
yeah,
a whole development cycle, like just to pull everything together and to you mentioned that it's a web app basically inside the sheet. So you would have to work with JavaScript, most likely HTML, CSS, pulling data into it, pushing it from Tableau itself. Yeah, it's way faster now, way faster.
and a lot of Stack Overflow sessions.
Yeah,
The and yeah, and an expert, you know, an expert
yeah,
engineer.
yeah.
So
That's right.
I'm gonna go back to the heat map. This is an issue, but it's telling me like I need a field to not have this error, but you know, there's no way to have these here if the extension isn't loaded. So it's kind of like oh, it did help a little bit. We'll see what we get out of a date and a value now. Yeah, so it's not letting me even drop. Let me reload this from a new T-Rex. And I don't know if T-Rex is proper or if it's just Trex, but I know there's a T-Rex mascot, so.
Hmm.
You know what it might be? It is recognized as a date. It's not letting me drop the order date on the date mark field. So I'll let that be the next prompt.
I'm gonna have to drop, Eric.
Okay.
Thanks
Thanks for joining.
thanks
And
for hosting. Like it was eye opening, and so yeah, I've been following your stuff, and your posts are always great. So keep it
thank you.
up, keep up the good work. Thanks so much. Have a great day ahead. Bye bye.
You too. Bye. Thanks, Rob. All right. We're at an hour and a half. We're at 90 minutes, and all of the attendees have dropped, but I want to continue this. I'll work through the video to pull out the pauses and the hurdles and the challenges. But do want to show how kind of like the end-to-end time and what the going from 0 to the whatever we get to. I won't stay on for more than another 15 minutes, but yeah. So currently at an hour and a half, we've got a radial that is pretty decent. And Granted also that, we did a lot of talking about things up front. I'll check back on when we actually started prompting, and that's actually, would be the true time. It might have been less than an hour of prompting so far. Yeah, we got a bar chart or radial bar chart that we can swap between the two styles and modify the formatting, the single gradient palette, like the gradient, you can change the start and end of the gradient. So we can go like blue to orange. Opacity is here. It's a little bit finicky. Border width, just like you can see the border, it's white right now. So we'll change that to like, oh, that's background. Change that back. I don't actually have a color for border, but you can, if I change this to a darker color, you can see the border that's added. So I would want to prompt this for choosing the border color. It would be like one of the next. We've got the labels on, and I would work a little bit with that for this format. That's the ending. Yeah, so the color of the ring when it doesn't have a value. So we'll do, let me actually see. I did a Control Z, which is destructive. So do, oh, that switched. So that switched to what I had been updating on the heat map. See if the reset to defaults works, and it does. Go back to gradient. So let's work on the heat map. All right, so I have another iteration, I think, of the heat map we'll try. So the issue before was I couldn't drop the date on here. And so we'll see if that's working now. Choose that manifest. And now I can drop order date. Great. So it starts to build. There's a little bit of customization that this requires to get it right. And so we'll work through that. But I've got the year. I haven't given it yet a value, but we're going to go with sales, sum of sales. And so this is still on year. I'm not 100%, but I'll put it on exact date. Yeah, and then it's gonna automatically choose the rows and columns. And what it's done is this is month, year, and then weekday. But let's see if I choose weekday. Yeah, I'll need to put in part of the config, like to choose the rows and columns. So I'll do that now. I'll have it, rather than just dropping date, we're going to drop or have in the config an option to tell it rows and columns. I'm just saying I need an option to define the rows and columns of the given date field. So we'll go with that. All right, so I had the project I had going on Radial had that session reorganize the folder structure just to make it clean. And I still have the heat map running some updates to allow me to define the columns and rows, like the date ag level for each. So we'll see what comes out of that. I was thinking I'll start like the third. We'll get a little bit different. I'm gonna provide some prompts for the custom table. So like I didn't use a lot of pre-built prompts for the other two, but this one I have a bunch of prompts that are ready. So we'll see how well those do. I'm just telling it I'm changing it at the end to run these three projects together off the same local host. So all right, so let's get back to the heat map. We'll see where we got to with that update. I'm just going to select that again, and it's I don't think it's been rewired to the new layout. So I'll tell it that. That was my bad. Since the port changed, I do need to do a full reload. I'm gonna access the local viz again, and this time, yeah, it's gonna be, this one's the heat map, and we have the custom table building now with a prompt. So this wasn't here before. We got the format extension button, and so I'll click that. And we get the modal. Wonder if I can make it bigger. So columns. So across the top, I want to see. Actually, the one that I wanted to see. Let's see. I want to see hour and weekday. So I will do I'll do day of month, and then I'll do month down the side. See how that goes. So then I think it's going to want to see. So yeah. So when you're using something like this, you need to set the actual pill to exact date so that that's available to this customization, the customization of selecting the, so it has access to the day of month and the month at the same time. So there can't be any ag level on the actual pill itself. So now we see we've got the table heat map going. It's got the total bars, which is nice. And then let's see. I'm just going to ask Claude to add in just add in functionality. Let me see if I have I have a few, actually have some prompts for that I've had put together for some of the customization. So I'll throw that in now. And then we got that going. We have the table running here. All right, so table is at a testable state. So we'll do that. Let's add a new sheet. Okay, we're gonna load up the new table. So grabbing the new table manifest, and it's going to be under pretty table. Hopefully it is. And we get an error. And so we'll take that back to Claude. We're in the table. We're going to go through there. And so it's still iterating on the heat map customization. And all right, so it's got a fix already on the table. So we'll have to clear that error and then reload. Pretty table's ready. Okay, so now it's just asking for columns on the marks card. We will do I'm gonna throw in year or date. Actually, I'll leave that off for now. Just do like category, subcategory. Do these four under product, and then I'll want like I'll select all the measures, put those into columns. It's gonna recognize those as measures. If I were to, let's say, pull off the detail, then that should be summarized up. And then these can be, changed to average. And the ag level is driven just through the pill. Let me see, I'll get the detail back in there. And I'll grab some prompts for, let's see, for some of the customization. So this is still just like the base table, but I had some prompts made so I can get more of the nice features in. So I'll paste that into my prompt window. All right, so the prompt I delivered is somewhat extensive. But Claude has broken it out into 8 new features, and it's going to start, it's given me like a to-do check off. And so it's going to start at the top and just start working through each of those features. And then it'll actually work through all of them before I go back to test. It's also easy to throw in there that I want to test after each feature. But I'll let it just run and then go test them together. So I'll pause. Just going to pause the recording while that's going. Actually, I'll leave it on so we can mark the times. Looks like we have another iteration for the heat map. So we'll go look at that. Let's see. This is table heat map. So just do the drop down, select it again. Should reload. So now it looks like we'll see on the format, but it's gone back to month and year. And so what I want to do is day of month and month. I do want to swap those. So month I'll have to, so like what the selection looks like now changed. It's not as detailed. You only have these options, but you could do month and year. That's a good one, actually. So I can turn the labels off, increase the bar size, like change the tile size here. And then we got color options. And I think there is, so yeah. So I can turn the total bar, the sum bars off as well. So I'm going to prompt it for some little bit update here to get customization on the breakdown, more colors, location of the bars, things like that. Oh, it's actually, wait, so this side, yeah, so this is still on the initial feature. Open, what did it called it breakdown. So open the breakdown. I just want to make it more custom. I don't want to have to select from the 5 or 6 that are there. So I want to be able to choose the columns and rows independently. Then there was, I think that's everything. So be able to move the bars, the sum bars, change the columns and rows, and then yeah, we'll go with that. We're gonna also really liked one that I created before on the, like what the heat map looks like that I have. So I'm gonna provide a screenshot. Might have been in one of the preview. Actually, I probably just have it in my screenshot folder. Grab that. So this is a screenshot of the heat map that I will provide on another iteration of this or another attempt at this earlier. I was able to get this output, so I like that style. So I'm just going to pass that through. I don't like the dark background on that. So I'm gonna tell it to not change the background. Make sure that's the right one. So pick that up. Let's see. Oh, it looks like it's checked off all of the list of features that we were looking for, and has stopped processing. So now we can go back to the table. Let's see what we have. So again, I'll click that extension mark and oh, wow, okay. I think we crashed Tableau that time. I'll reopen it. I think what will... We'll see what state we had saved. I hadn't done any saving yet, but that's all right. So the heat map table, we'll see if it loads or crashes. You can see the changes because we didn't have the header or the search before. The radial, though, is what's missing. So I'll go back to that in a second, but I have another Fable version that I like. Another workbook. I don't know if I have it open, but I want to do kind of that version of it if I can. I'm just going to look for that table real quick and see. Heat map still going, tables here. So first, let's see how it built it to this point, and then I'll like give it more defined direction. So we've got, that's not the right one. Let's look here. Okay, so it kept the data, the table data that I had put in. We've got dark mode. We've got compact, which I really like. I like to be able to see more to a certain extent. So the numbers, currently they're what it's calling plain, but we can add the bars, we can add the heat map, or it looks like dots. I like the bar. I do like the other, I think I showed a preview of the other bars, and I like those. We've got export, where you can choose the fields, all or none, or what is visible. And then we can search. So if I'm looking for Samsung, I can do that, or I can do RCA. Get those, and like it's just instant search, which is very nice. We got pagination. We've got sorting. So that puts us back to page 1, and we can see, we can sort by any of these. I'm gonna just tell Claude the Um, There's just a styling issue when the label and bar are together. It's a dark color, couldn't read the label. So I'll prompt that. And then once this finishes and we can see it ran, then we'll probably call it a day for this session. And so with minimal, I would say minimal time, we ran into, this is normal to run into some of those iterations back and forth. If you want to, just the errors that can pop up, it comes with coding. But fortunately, Claude is able to work through them, and after a few iterations, even on a single error, it doesn't usually take more than a couple on a similar or same error to get past it. So we can see the results. I'll get to that. This should be completing, but I'll go look at the new heat map updates. We've got here, so I'll again click that mark to get the latest. So we can see, I think already the legend has changed. So we'll go to format, see what the new options are. A lot more color options. The breakdown still isn't what I wanted, but we can do columns on the bottom, left, right, bar size, extend those out, tile size. So if you want that all to fit, you can make that fit depending on your canvas area. The labels on and off, which would be bad here. Let's choose, this is looking like month and year, weekday and year, week of year and year. Let's do that. But I would want to swap those. Keep it there. So yeah, I'd go back and do another iteration on this of separating I'm just saying separate the column date and row date ag selection. So, and I want to just say provide all levels in each of those drop downs. Then I want to say move the config. I don't love it over there. Move the config to modal. That's what I was mentioning before is I like to be modal just to pop up in the center. So we'll tell it to be a modal rather than a sidebar. Month and year. Month and year. Open up the width a bit. Should have actually just asked for a swap also. Swap axis. There we go. Close that. All right, so we'll make this whatever we get out of this. And that's on the heat map, or sorry, the table. See what it was able to do with styling. Hit the discount and got bars. I don't love it, but obviously it's just again, like iterating through prompting through prompts until like the output. So yeah, we got the table. So now we're gonna pull things together. Get a nice big canvas here. Let's drop the table first. Do like heat map and radial. Radial, I needed a fix on the local host. Yeah, just if you're doing this, to copy anything out of the Tableau space, you need to right click. I think that would be like, is it command click on Mac? Yeah, I'll just get it there. It will do what it needs to. Okay, we'll call it after this iteration. We'll set that dashboard up and then call it a day. So let's see. I've got my, when I popped it in here, it kind of loses its settings from the sheet. We can do that. Go thin, medium, full, medium. Do some gradient. Okay, there the dots look. Before they were just one or so. Spacious, compact. Bars. Can make the bars. We got zebra striping. Bar height. I like the medium. Definitely like the medium. And then we got dark. Dark actually doesn't look too bad. Like does sometimes, but that one looks pretty good. So I would ask next for maybe some formatting on the numbering by column or yeah, by field. Put that in there. Export, still looking good. Yeah, so that's our table. So now we'll see if it's already interacting. So if I click on a cell here, doesn't look like it, but let's do that. there's also like, you're not limited to just one of these. So let's do like a table shipping. And I've already got these here. So we'll do the table and we'll do like ship mode. This actually be good for the probably for the radial, but you can see you can, once you have that viz extension in there, it can be duplicated on any of the sheets. Well, let's look at the radial. It's still not loading. Okay, I just need to restart the server, possibly, it looks like. So it needs to be on 1.1.1. And then see if they all run off of the 1.1.1.1 port. So we'll get a refresh. The radial, still not running. These ones might close, but they're still working. All right, so the heat map has a little bit, or has an update. We asked for, so we got the config button is here. It's still made it a slide out or sidebar, but it did put the button over here. And actually, sorry, it's because I haven't updated it. Still have the button there. Let's make sure. Didn't need a full refresh. All right, yeah, we got like local server contention. I'll fix this and get back. All right, after a couple minutes, paused. It looks like we've got just a new command to start the server for all of them. So I'll do, this should be out of, make sure I'm in the right folder. Just do npm from the root level, npm start. And it's running on 8,000. So it might not be the right. Okay. So it's already in use. So it's being run, I think, by Claude somewhere. So you just need that version or that instance to be forced closed. So Claude will close those for me. And let's look at, still getting the updates on the table. Still getting a little bit on. So it looks like the table is ready. This is also, yeah, stop. One of these, okay. 111, 1111 is ready. I'll try the NPM again and see what we get. So, okay. Now it's showing us all three are running out of their respective folders. This is still checking on that unified local host as well. But we'll see if these refresh. Calendar heat map. So we got the heat map back. Fable in. And see if the radial is working now. Negative. So this one, we're just conflicting between sessions, trying to do the same thing on multiple sessions. So okay, it's recognizing that the node server was implemented to be the unified local host. It's going to fix that. But let's look back. We can configure some of these things. So we got the table back. See it on the dashboard. So we can do, again, compact, get the bars, and go right, left, center, left, medium. I don't want the number on the bar. I'd like it beside the bar. So that works like that. And there. So now we've got all of that built in with the bars. Yeah, again, it can be built in to provide like specific column level formatting. So removing decimals and all of that. Okay, so we got the modal this time. It's popping up in the center. Change the color. The columns on the bottom, rows on the right. We got the bar size. We'll start the tile size over a little bit. And now we have the columns aggregate. So if I want to see the hour, like I've just been trying to get to the hour in the weekday. So now we have that. It's possible there is no hours. So let's just do let's do day of month and then month. Look at a year. So we've got that bright item. We'll change, come down the color maybe a bit. So that's that. And we did ask for interactivity, so let's see if that went through. Doesn't seem like it did. Ooh. Close. Make sure all of the other iterations are done. This is one that's going to work on all of them, so I just want to make sure I'm not running anything on the other ones. We didn't check if the radial was working again. Nope. Maybe actually I need to choose that manifest file again. So we got the radial, put that in there. All right, so I'm just seeing if it can fix the radial to load and then build in the interaction I want to see on the dashboard. Then see if we have this in fast, get it done. All right, we did have it on. So that toggled it off and we'll turn it back on. On. Actually may have not done that when I meant to first time around. There we go. Nice. All right, so now we're just waiting on the interaction piece to see if that's still building, and it is. So let's go pull this together. A little cooler. Use more of this black and white. Light to dark, and then cool, we got that option. Then subcategory sales. I'm not going to play too much with these. Wanted to see about the labeling. So we got the category. Again, I didn't work on fixing those. Make them a little nicer. So we'll do high to low. Then rounded ends. Pretty rounded already. Total radius. Bring them in tighter. Cleaner. This actually works a lot better, I think. But you know, we got this one too. All right, then see what that looks like on the dashboard. Hit done. So we have those changes popped in here. We got the heat map, we got the radial, and got the table. Then what do we have? There is a detail shelf. Yeah, it'd be interesting to tell it, you know, give it a list of the measures, or it could actually pull a list of the measures, put them in a drop down, and add that to the canvas. So you could select through the measures rather than dropping them here. Same with the ag level. You know, we can change it on the pill, but it could be an option within the canvas to switch between average, median, sum, things like that. I'd throw in an option to like have multiple of these next to each other by dropping a detail or something on a new shelf. So just limitless things we can do. I might not wait for the interaction piece. It might be a more of a rebuild. So I'll just do a follow-up. Says clicking a bar on the radial will filter the others. So let's see if we've got that. Doesn't seem to be, but it's also, I haven't reloaded everything and I don't want to rebuild at this point. So we'll call it good there. Just grateful for everyone who was able to join and to view this later. Let me know if you have questions, and yeah, post your projects, the things that this can help with. And if you find models that are easy to work with and that produce quality goods, then let the group know. But it's been fun, just in short amount of time. Could have been shorter if I had set things up differently. So things to learn, but yeah, short amount of time building custom visuals. But yeah, thanks for watching and joining me. Have a great weekend.